Alright, so during my first review, I said I was going to be reviewing Kung Fu films because I'm a huge Kung Fu fan along with horror and exploitation. So for my first Kung Fu review, it's going to be Return to 36 Chamber, which is a sequel to 36 Chamber Shaolin. Now, if you're a Wu-Tang fan, you probably know what these films are or are now going, wait, that sounds familiar. They're obviously gigantic Kung Fu fans. But anyway, Return to the 36 Chamber, starring Gordon Liu. Most of us here in America know Gordon Liu if you're not a Kung Fu fan. From the Kill Bill movies, he played the leader, the Crazy 88s in the first one, and he played Pai Mei in the second one. Both these movies starring Gordon Liu, both directed by Li Chi Lang or Lar Garlong, whichever you've heard or want to say, because you get both of them pronounced too. So whatever his real name, I'm not sure, because the translations of these names don't come through very well here in America. They end up getting reversed and all kinds of other things. So anyway, Return to 36 Chamber. Pretty much starts out, and a group of Hans are working at a dye factory. They dye fabrics, and the Manchus take it over and show that the Manchu workers, their work is better. They show the two fabrics, and this one's brighter, this one's dull. So what they're going to do is they're going to cut the Hans wages by half so they can pay for the Manchu workers to come and do better work. Well, the Hans don't like this, and they say, "Well, we're going to leave. We're going to we're going to quit." And the horrible Manchus, they say, "Well, if you quit, then you're going to get beat up." Well, of course, they try to leave, and they get beat up. And as they're recovering from their wounds in a tea house, enter Mr. Gordon Liu, who is, I guess, kind of a con man slash actor, which I think most con men are probably pretty good actors because they have to rely on that, conning people, lying to people anyway. He's playing like a medicine man when they meet him, and he's trying to sell these little balls of medicine, and somehow he gets wrapped up in this and decides to help them out, and he plays a Shaolin monk. Buddha bless. Hope that didn't offend anybody. Anyway, plays a Shaolin monk, and comes and tries to scare the Manchus into giving the Hans their wages back. Well, Wang Lin Wei, who plays the evil guy in this, and actually in every Kung Fu film I've ever seen, he always plays the evil guy. He sniffs out that Gordon Liu's character is probably not really a Shaolin monk, and challenges him to show him his skills and fight and blah, blah. And of course, he doesn't know any Kung Fu, and he gets beat up. So his decision is to go to Shaolin and actually learn Kung Fu, so he can come back and help his friends out. And of course, that's what he does. Yada yada yada. I say yada yada, and I'm telling you the whole plot because any porno fans out there, it's kind of like you don't watch pornography for the story, and if you say you do, you're lying. You know why you watch it? Well, it's kind of like that in Kung Fu. You don't watch Kung Fu for the plots. Not saying they're anywhere near the plots in sex pictures. They're not. But they do tend to be a little looser around the edges, and the star of the show is always the fighting, which Kung Fu fans, what do you watch Kung Fu for? The fighting, exactly. So, basically, the fighting in this, I would say, is par to the fighting in 36 Chamber Shaolin. Now, if you've seen 36 Chamber Shaolin, you know it's pretty much a training movie, and there's not a lot of fighting until the end. Kind of the same thing in this one. The funny thing about this movie is that In this one, Gordon Liu plays San Te, who learns Kung Fu and starts the 36 Chamber of Shaolin. In this one, he plays someone else who gets trained by San Te. Trained, I say, loosely. You'll figure it out if you watch it. So, strong sequel, a little bit less serious, not quite. It's a little bit more comedic, a little more silly, but still not bad. The fighting is good in this. Um, my big pet peeve, okay, with this release is this is released by Dragon Dynasty, the Weinstein Company, pretty much, who release new and old Kung Fu films. And usually, actually, this is going to be the first one that there is not a single feature on this disc. Not one. Not even a trailer. Nothing. And they're pretty good about features. They usually have a commentary from Hong Kong film experts. They usually have some interviews. They usually have a trailer. The least amount of features I've seen on some of these old Kung Fu films was the new Five Deadly Venoms release, which had a commentary. Might have had a trailer. This has absolutely nothing. Shame on you, Dragon Dynasty. I know you can get an interview with Gordon Liu because you've done it before. What are you doing? Fantastic movie and no features. You really dropped the ball on that. So that's the big problem with this disc. There's no features on it at all. But anyway, if you're a fan of 36 Chamber Shaolin, definitely pick up Return to the 36 Chamber. A pretty good follow-up. And if you're not a Kung Fu film fan, well, you're probably not going to watch it. If you're not, and you're interested, definitely check them out, because they're great movies. But, yeah, so that concludes.